With the situation in Iraq and Syria heating up, it's easy to forget that we're actually still at war in Afghanistan. How stunning is this? I follow news, politics, foreign policy, everything on a daily basis as my job. And every once in a while, even I go through an article and there's a line in it or something that reminds me, and I go, oh, yeah, we're still at war in Afghanistan. Totally forgot about that. That says a lot about current day America. Well, we have some very, very bad news on that front today. According to the Associated Press, quote, a senior advisor to President Obama said Afghanistan's newly sworn-in president will sign a deal to allow U.S. troops to remain in Afghanistan. President Ashraf Ghani Ahmadzai would sign an agreement on Tuesday to allow U.S. troops to stay after the official international combat mission ends on December 31st. So yet again, this is the same trick that we're seeing in Iraq. President Obama and his cabinet, they don't give a name, and Congress, they don't give a name to the war that we're currently fighting in Iraq and Syria. And they say, don't worry, we're not sending any ground troops there. We're just sending advisors. And what's the reality? There are 1,600 troops on the ground, and all press reports say, yeah, they're shooting at people on the ground. They're not just training people. They're shooting people. Those are combat troops, I hate to tell you. If there are troops that have boots and they're on the ground and they're shooting, those are combat troops. You could call them whatever the fuck you want. You can call them pretty little fairy princesses. It doesn't fucking matter. They're combat troops. They're doing the exact same thing in Iraq. It's okay. Don't worry, guys. We ended the war. There is no more war. There's no more combat troops on the ground. But, quote, approximately 10,000 U.S. troops would be permitted to remain in Afghanistan. Ghani's predecessor, Hamid Karzai, had distanced himself from the U.S. and resisted having American troops stationed there. So, for those of you who don't know, last year it was announced that we were going to stay in Afghanistan for 11 more years. Then it turned out that fell through because the president of Afghanistan at the time, Hamid Karzai, got so much pressure from the people that he couldn't sign the deal. And it looked as if the U.S. was going to say, fuck it, we're staying whether or not we have permission. And then today we get the news that we're going to stay and get permission from the new president. 10,000 soldiers are going to stay there. And they're to tell us that the war is not still going on. It's okay, we just have 10,000 guys on the ground and they shoot at people on the ground, and that's not a war. Imagine for a second that anybody did that to us. Imagine Iran put 10,000 troops in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and they would go around shooting people that had, I don't know, Confederate flags on their trucks. It's okay, guys, don't worry. They're not combat troops. They're just a residual force or something that, don't worry, it's okay. China puts troops in Texas. How would that fly? It's all right, guys. It's not a war. This isn't a military operation. They're not combat troops. They're just 10,000 troops that sometimes do combat. When you flip the scenario, you realize we've gone full Orwellian in the United States of America. Now, why are we doing this? Well, number one, every time we withdraw from Afghanistan, or start to draw down, I should say, the Taliban starts advancing and taking over towns. We just did a story on this last week. It's totally true. Whenever we draw down, the Taliban gets stronger and they start to move in and take over pockets of Afghanistan that they used to have before our invasion. Now, is that a good thing? Absolutely not. But the question is, what do we do about it, and is it our job to do something about it? The whole reason we went into Afghanistan, the purpose behind it was fucking al-Qaeda's over there and Osama bin Laden, and they did 9/11, so let's go and attack them. Well, guess what? We have decimated al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Factions of the Taliban are still there, but not al-Qaeda. There's less than 100 al-Qaeda operatives in Afghanistan, according to our own CIA. And Osama bin Laden's dead, so motherfucker, mission accomplished. Get the fuck out of there. I don't like the Taliban, but it's none of my fucking business if they take over in Afghanistan. I mean, why should I care about that any more than I care about the regime in North Korea, any more than I care about the terrorist groups in the Congo or Nigeria or Somalia. It sucks. I feel bad for them, but it's none of our business. Okay, so, and here's the reality. Every time, whenever we leave, this is going to happen. Whether we leave now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now, 100 years from now, whenever we leave, the Taliban is going to start taking over pockets. So why not rip off the Band-Aid quick and get it over with? I mean, that's what the American people want to do. Only 17% of the American people, according to a recent poll, say they want to continue to be in Afghanistan. This war is now more disliked than Vietnam, and Vietnam was universally hated. So that's the first reason why they want to keep us there, because we're afraid of the Taliban takeover. And then the second reason is, and this one is just speculation, but I think it's educated speculation. The same way that Iraq was a lot about oil, okay, Afghanistan is about minerals. People don't know this, but there are a lot of minerals in Afghanistan. Minerals that are used in a lot of different technological devices, including cell phones. Now, again, I'll reiterate, that's just speculation. But you tell me, how often has the United States gone on a mission, done some sort of foreign policy attack or bombing or whatever, and it really was for purely humanitarian reasons? Maybe there are a few times, okay? Bosnia, Kosovo, you could throw out a few more. If we had gotten involved in Rwanda, maybe it would have been a good idea. The Yazidis on the mountaintop in Iraq recently, that was a good mission, right? But most of the time, there's always an ulterior motive, and this may be one of them.